This video is about these recent Flywoo motors, and this is also one of my prototype frames that I've been experimenting with of my many platforms that I have coming. You can see that there's a DVR board in here along with a 16x16 stack. It is all very lightweight, and I'm showing you guys this because I'm too lazy to take the motors off and put it on another platform right now. So hopefully nobody copies the frame before it actually comes out, or the setup, because this is actually a current setup. It's not the setup that's coming very soon. I am working on a couple of new things which are really cool. Anyways, these are the Flywoo motors, and let's first talk about Flywoo as a company before anything else. Flywoo kind of came out of nowhere, and they're not a company that is a they're not an actual motor manufacturing company. They kind of commission motors to be made, and they just maintain a brand. And so the Flywoo 2306, 2207, those motors that are out currently, and they're super shiny and super pretty, as far as I can tell, come from the exact same factory that makes the Sing motors, the Xing motors from iFlight. And when I asked iFlight about it, of course they deny it, but it's the same motor. I mean, I take it apart, I look inside, it's exactly the same motor. And as far as I can tell, these motors are along those same lines. Now, we have had an influx of many 1103 motors and a couple of new 1407 motors as well. And this is a new 1103 motor from Flywoo. So of the 1103 motors that are out there right now, of all the ones that I've tried, my personal preferred motor before I flew this one is actually still the Amoxinno motor, because it is just a lower kV and it's just a lot more efficient. That's really the primary reason. I just really like the efficiency. It's not a slow motor. The Hyperlite motor is definitely more powerful and faster, but it's just a much more efficient motor with the setups that the toothpicks run. Now, this one is a 3-inch toothpick, and I'll talk about these props at the very end. They are a little bit weird. Anyways, but let's talk about the motor real quick. This is an 1103 motor. It is, what's the kV on this thing? 7650 kV it says. I would guess that it's more along the lines of 75, 7600, maybe around that range is about accurate, just based on the performance compared to the Hyperlite motor and the Amoxinno motor. I think this is a fantastic motor. I think it is right up there with the Amoxinno. Plus, it has strong magnets like the Hyperlite motor, so you're getting kind of the best of both worlds. It has full bearings. It's got a really tight air gap. The performance of this motor is really great. It's fantastically paired with this 3-inch prop. However, I wouldn't recommend this Tello 3-inch prop because you do have to drill it out to fit the 1.5 millimeter shaft, and drilling these props is 1,000 times worse than drilling the King Kong props. But anyways, I really like this motor a lot. There's only one negative thing I could say about it, and that is that the wires coming off the motor are a little bit straggly and a little bit thin. However, there is also a benefit to those wires. They are high quality, they're just really thin for my thing. I prefer them just a slightly bit thicker. Like the Hyperlite motor, the wires are just a teeny bit thicker. But these wires are so much easier to solder on these tiny little solder pads of every tiny little board out there. So it's a great motor. I haven't tried the 1404 motor because this is a 4S motor. It's a 3750 kV motor, so it is a 4S 3-inch motor, and I just don't have the batteries to run it. I think I would want to run like a 350 or a 400 milliamp 4S battery with this motor on a lightweight 3-inch prop. The wires coming off it are very thick, like Flywoo motors that are bigger than this. So this also looks like a fantastic motor. It's got bearings all the way through. This one actually has a 2 millimeter shaft. I believe it's a 2 millimeter shaft all the way through, whereas the 1103 motor has a 1.5 millimeter shaft all the way through. But you can also see that there is no C-clip at the top, so there's no kind of strangulation of the shaft where it narrows and gives it a potential failure point. However, you will still get failures of motors even if they're totally solid through. This prop is a very interesting prop. I'm going to try not to say too much because I have a lot of this stuff coming and I'm still testing a lot of things. It is a really interesting prop because it has the amp draw of the King Kong 65 millimeter prop, but it gives you the properties of a 3-inch prop, a 75, 76 millimeter prop. But the ends of these blades don't really do all that much. This isn't a very punchy prop, but it does give you that kind of soaring pattern of a 3-inch. Like if you just hold your throttle at kind of 15% and kind of cruise down a dive, you can sort of guide the quad down just by the wing effect you'll create by just having some spinning blades and having larger spinning blades. So it is really nice in the air. 1103 is the absolute minimum size that I think this prop can run. And I'm not even going to talk about the frame and everything else about it. I'm going to leave that to later. I'm going to keep this video short. And there are links in the description below. I haven't personally used the Apex motors, the Apex Sonic motors, but those also look like fantastic motors. I have examined them in my hand. So currently, I would say that some of the best motors in this 1103 kind of toothpick class size are the Amoxinno motor, the Hyperlite motor. If you want that specific brand of super light, super powerful, that motor is for you. And then if you want the bougie motor, you go with the Flywoo or the Apex Sonic motors, which are all phenomenal. All of these motors are really fantastic motors. I really like them a lot. I really appreciate their existence. I do have a couple of new motors coming. And I also want to thank everybody for making my flossing video as popular as it has been. I could not have imagined for it to have a similar view and like to dislike ratio as all my other videos. And the comments, so many comments, great comments. I'm so pleased that so many people watched that video all the way through. The average watch time on that video was almost 10 minutes, which is almost higher than most of my videos regardless of their length, which is incredible. I'm so thrilled that you guys are so interested in that stuff. However, I'm not going to bore you with too much of it. But there were a couple of recurring questions, and I'm going to answer a bunch of those questions along the way throughout my videos. So one question was, which one do you do first, floss or brush? And that's a very excellent question, because in reality, you should technically floss after you brush, but almost every dentist and hygienist will tell you to floss before you brush. And that's because there has actually been research done in this area to find out that patients, after they brush their teeth, they feel like their teeth are clean and they don't feel the urge to floss. If you tell a patient that you should floss first, then they floss and their teeth still have grime on the sides, so they still feel the urge to brush because they don't feel like their teeth are actually clean. However, in reality, you should technically floss after you brush, because when you brush, you have a little bit of fluoride residue around your teeth, and by flossing, you're kind of wedging that fluoride in between your teeth, and that's helping kill bacteria and strengthen your teeth and keep everything great. So yeah, and the best possible option would be if floss was infused with fluoride. Now there are some flosses that are infused with fluoride. However, my personal favorite floss does not come in that variety. I don't know why. I really wish it did. I also hate flavored flosses because the flavoring is like waxy or slimy and it kind of gets all over your fingers. I'll stop there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everything. Take care. Bye-bye.